Hey everybody, welcome back to Boost Your Income with Bootstrap to WordPress. My name is Brad Hussey and we're about to code a section that includes my face as Elvis.
Oh, come on, baby.
Alright, and now we're going to code the big sexy instructor section, and by big sexy instructor, I mean, no? Okay. This section, it's quite nice. And there's a few things here that are cool. Just some typographic elements like a header with some small text kind of within that header. We have some leading text, just some general content here. Big background image. This isn't just an image, it's actually a background image. We have some numbers here, and these are CSS3 circles. We'll be jumping into that in the following lecture. But first, let's get ourselves going with this HTML. Jump into your code editor, and in your index file, scroll down to the instructor section, and that's where we're going to be adding some major markup. Here we go. ID, instructor. Whoops. All right, and then we're going to add a container class div here. And between there, we'll add a row. And then in between there, we'll add a column, small 8. And we're actually going to add some additional classes here so I can show you a little bit more of the power of Bootstrap's grid system. But right now, let's just start with small 8. And then I'll show you why we're going to need to add some additional classes there. So it gets a little bit trickier, and you can see that it's there's some more useful ways you can use that. But let's continue first, and then we'll get there. And this is a row, and then in between row, we're going to add another column. And that's going to be call large 8. And I'll show you why in a moment. H2, your instructor, and then a small tag, Brad Hussey. All right. And then after the 8, we want a call large 4 because we obviously want this to equate or equal 12. So this would be 4. And in our large 4 column, we'll have an A tag, href, and that's going to be my Twitter, https twitter.com/Brad Hussey. And we're going to open that in a new window. And then we're going to add some classes here, badge, social, and Twitter. And we'll get to those classes in the next lecture. And in between this A tag, we're going to have an I tag with the class of FA for Font Awesome and FA Twitter. And that should give us the Twitter logo in a font. So copy that, and we're just going to paste that again 2 more times and just change a few of these attributes, the values. This will be facebook.com/Brad Hussey. I mean, you could use your own links here, but because this is what we're building, we're just going to use what I already have. This will be Facebook, and this will be Facebook. All right, and then the last one will be Google+. So it's google.com/+Brad Hussey. And that will be badge social G+ is what the class we're going to give it. And then this will be FA Google -plus. All right, save that, and let's just give that a little look-see. What do we got here? So very simple, not very much here. So your instructor, and we got some icons here. Clearly they're not the way that they're supposed to be styled, but we'll get there. And we have our columns. So let me just explain a little something here. Why do we have a row and then another column, and then inside that column we have a row and then more columns? So we actually are going to have, initially, we're going to have a call small 8. So we want to have space on the right side for the instructor. So over here, this is our call small 8. And we want to have this much space over here so we can see our instructor. I actually think the column small 8 is a little bit bigger here. And let me just inspect element. Here's our instructor section. Container, right? row, and then inside a row we have our col small 8. And you'll see that there's also something here called col MD6, which is col medium 6. And that's because when you shrink your window size, when you're on smaller screens, so here it'll go to a col small 8. And then it will eventually go full width here, like it usually does. But when you add an extra class, col small 8, and then add here col medium 6, that basically says when you're on smaller screens, give it an 8 column. When you're on medium screens, give it a 6 column. You can also add a col large something. And if you want large screens, you have a specific grid width, and then medium, and then small. So the reason I do that is because we want to be able to have that text not be so shrinked. So if I kept this as col small 8 and then I shrunk it, it wouldn't have the same layout. I want it to be able to grow a little bit as I shrink. So you could see here, it maintains that size. If I were to do something here, let me just show you as an example. So it's not too confusing. I'm just going to, in the final site, I'm going to get rid of that. So here, this is actually an 8 column grid. And you can see that it's wider than, let's go to the WordPress version. You could see it's wider. And we don't necessarily want that because it's too wide. I wanted it smaller. It looked nicer. And then here it starts getting in the way, crossing over with the background image, and it doesn't look as good. Here is fine. So when you add col medium 6, let me just go back to the full width here. Medium screen sizes and larger will have a 6 column. So this is actually half 6, and then this is 6 over here. And then when you get smaller, it jumps into an 8 column grid so that you can actually, there you go, there's your 8 column grid rather than 6, which would be this wide. So it would be too small. And the text would be all bunched up in this little box. So that's why we're doing that. So then add your col medium 6. Okay, now in this big mess of HTML code here, after your row, within your col small 8, we want to add some content. And the bio should be in the copy deck. And we're going to start off with a paragraph with the class of lead. And then we'll just start adding our text. And you don't have to, obviously, I'm not going to just type it all out because that'll take too long and it's pointless. I'm just going to paste all the rest of the content. And in the copy deck, you could be able to do that. Add your paragraph tags and then the content here. You kind of have free reign there. After the last paragraph tag, add a horizontal rule. And then an H3, the numbers, and then a small tag. They don't lie. All right. I'm gonna tab this in here because it's not fully tabbed in. There we go. I believe I got this correct. Now, down here, there should be another, after the H3, we want to add another row. You can nest columns within columns as long as you open it up with a row. That's important because columns, the class of column, small whatever or large whatever, they have left margin, and the row has negative left margin, so it'll jut it over that 15 or 30 pixels, whatever it is. And then here we're going to add a col XS for extra small 4. So this means on extra small screens, maintain the column, the grid-based layout, other than just having it be full width. And that's what's also cool about this. We're going to add a div with the class of num. Inside there, we're going to add a div with the class of num content, num dash content. And within there, let's just add some numbers. 41,000 plus. I believe at this point, I'm actually at about 48,000 students. Now copy that column altogether. Get some space there, paste it again, a couple more times. We're just going to change some stuff up here. So this will be 568 reviews. And this last one will be 8 courses. Okay. Now save that and you should have all the content for this section. All right, it's getting there. You can see it's got the right idea. Here's the final one. Here's your version. You got the text here. You got the numbers. You got the HR. Very kind of light there. You can't really see it. And you got our texts. Now we're going to jump in and just do, let's see. Let's add our background, white, and me, Elvis. Because I'm Elvis. Go to your CSS. Under your featurette section, select the instructor ID and give it the background of white and the URL of /image/Brad-Elvis. That picture is in there. .jpng. And we're going 90%. And -10 pixels will be the position of this background. And I'll show you why. Save it. Check it out. Here I am. All in there. It looks good. Perfect. But what's with the 90% and the 10? Well, let's just go 0 and 0 for top left. What happens? Well, that's not right. I want to be over here. So what if I said 100% for fully right? Okay, well, that's okay. But what if I wanted myself a little bit closer in, like a little bit separated from the content here? So 90%, that brings me in a little bit towards the left. There I am, looks good. And now 0, which just means top, but I want to be just a little bit further up. Trim off some of the top here. There we go, just 10 pixels up. And there it is. There's our content and all that sort of stuff. Now, what we'll probably do is leave the lecture at this because that was quite a bit. And we're going to jump into the next lecture. We're going to do some CSS. We're going to style up these icons and these circles and a few other things. See you there.
Come on, mama. You ain't nothing but a hound dog if you don't visit Cold College.